What's up YouTube? Today I want to show you a really cool trick in Vital for making incredibly wide sounds from the ground up. So this trick was actually taken from Mute Productions, so big shout outs to Shep at Mute Productions for giving me this idea. He originally did it in Serum, so Serum does actually have a few pros for why this is actually better in Serum or whatever, but having the ability to do it in Vital just makes like life a little bit easier for those who only have Vital. The major downside, I think, the reason why Serum is a little bit better at it is you can import wavetables and then do this harmonic split technique. However, in Vital, you can only do it on Vital tables, the ones that you've actually created yourself from scratch in Vital. That being said, I want to show you this technique. It's really, really cool. Let's dive in and have a look. So for those who don't understand the idea of spectral synthesis or additive synthesis, most sounds that we hear are based on a series of sine waves. Each of these little bars at the bottom here represents a single sine wave in the harmonic series. So within Vital, you have the ability to clear all the odd or clear all the even from a particular wavetable. So for example, if we take a saw wave and we clear the even, we take a saw wave and we clear the odd, the resulting sound when we play it again together, as long as there's no random phase, the resulting sound will be the original sound again. So let's just say clear even. So now what we have is a saw wave of only the even harmonics and a saw wave of only the odd harmonics. So for those who don't know, an odd harmonic saw wave is actually a square wave. So let's actually just go ahead, turn these down to 0, and then we've actually recreated the saw wave again by splitting these harmonics. And then if we take it down to even more like molecular level, if we remove all of the harmonics, let's say clear from right, and this one as well, we're essentially left with just a single sine wave. Actually, that's the second bin. So a single sine wave. And as you add more harmonics, it becomes more shaped like a saw, as we know. So anyway, how is this a useful theory? Let me show you real quick. So let's just initialize these two sounds. Let's do what I did exactly over again, just so you guys can see it. Clear odd. Let's jump in here. Clear even. So we've recreated the saw wave. However, the idea is now we want to create an incredibly wide saw wave. So what happens when we pan one sound left and one sound right? When the signals are mixed back to our brain, we're hearing a saw wave, even though what's happening in the left is a square and what's happening in the right is kind of a saw wave type of thing. This is particularly interesting, you know, for example, if we had to just do this with the initialized saw waves. Let's just initialize these, one pan left, one pan right. The equal result of both of these oscillators, left and right channel, kind of returns it back to a mono signal. So we're not getting any wideness this way by doing this, except if we detune them slightly and that kind of thing. But that being said, is that detune is often very audible. We can hear that kind of pitch, and you know, sometimes we don't want that much of a detuned effect. This is particularly interesting for stuff like FM or very complex waveforms where you've got a lot happening with phase and a lot happening with these kind of harmonics. So I want to show you, let's just initialize here. I've actually made a table here real quick just to speed up the process called split me. So essentially this is just this shape. I drew a triangle like this, and then a bunch of triangles like this. I was roughly basing this on a kind of virus style FM. So a nice and simple FM-like sound, but I want to create this incredibly wide sound using this. So what we can do is we can go copy. Let's paste this here. And again, let me show you what happens if we just pan left, pan right. We have the same result as just a single oscillator, depending on obviously the phase randomization of each one. So you see those mix back to a mono signal, even though we've panned one hard left and panned one hard right. So this is something to note. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, how to get a sound wider? Just pan one thing left and duplicate it and pan the same thing right. No, that doesn't make anything any more wider. Your brain actually just mixes it back down to mono anyway. So if we use this technique that I'm about to show you, where we split, for example, let's take the odds out of the one side, and let's take the evens out of the other side. Then what happens is each of the speakers is actually playing a different sound, and our brain decodes that and automatically sounds kind of much wider because our two ears are hearing different signals. And our brain decodes it back into the original signal, taking into account the fact that it's much wider. So here's a very cool thing. Let me show you that Vital actually has this spread feature over here. And what this does is it actually turns down all of the stereo kind of settings within the plugin. So what this spread does is it basically folds our signal back down to a mono. So we can use this as a amount of wideness that we want to then use in our patch. So to prove my theory, here, let's see what this sounds like. Just this oscillator, split me, single, mono, and then I'm going to take these two and then sum that back down to mono using the spread control and see how close they sound together. Awesome. That is about it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that technique. I'm going to actually be uploading this preset to my Patreon for all my $5 supporters. So if you want to know what that's all about, check out the link in the description. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to my channel and hitting that like button. See you guys next time. Cheers.